Standard Rugby Podcast with Lawrence Dallaglio.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Evening Standard Rugby Podcast. I'm Lawrence Dallaglio, and joining me after a action-packed weekend of rugby on the women's front and in the men's domestic game is Steve Corning from the Evening Standard. Hello Steve, how are you?
Lawrence, I'm very well, but I'm here in the studio on my own. You're not feeling too chipper?
No, the long workload has taken its toll on me, I think. Nothing to do with last Thursday's Rugby Works celebrations and post-Six Nations dinner, I don't think, or post-Six Nations luncheon, but I was fit enough for one round of Premiership action on Saturday at Tottenham, which we'll get onto in a second. But, it was another packed weekend of Premiership rugby with games right away across the weekend. Friday night saw Bristol Bears produce an emphatic performance and a win against table-topping Northampton Saints, 52 points to 21. No one would have predicted that. Leicester's top four playoff hopes slightly dented by a late try from Gloucester. Leicester losing at Matoli Woods 25-27. And then we saw two games on Saturday. Exeter Chiefs defeating Newcastle Falcons 25-16. A real humdinger of a occasion and match at Tottenham Hotspur. Saracens really flexing their muscles, 52 points to 7 against Harlequins. And then a very entertaining game finishing on Sunday. Bath 42 points and Sale Sharks 24. So, I mean, I guess the beauty of this league with two going into this weekend with only a few points separating the teams at the very top and the teams towards the bottom is that anyone and everyone, bar Newcastle, maybe Gloucester and Bristol, are capable of making that top four finish.
So joining us to discuss all those games is the Evening Standard's rugby correspondent, Nick Purewal. Nick, hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you guys?
Looking ahead to the weekend, then we kick off with Newcastle against Leicester. Nick, Steve Diamond's gone in there. It's mission impossible, but Newcastle know now, confirmed for definite, that they won't get relegated because there won't be any, which is something that we all knew. Pick me a winner for that one, Newcastle against Leicester.
I think you expect Leicester to hit back and get cracking, get rolling again. And I think Newcastle, they've got to get back to the days of just building on the fact that no one really wants to play at Kingston Park, especially not, if you've got a Friday night, cold, wet, windy, horrible sideways rain Friday night at Kingston Park. They definitely used to play on that in their strongest times, and that's the kind of thing they'll be looking to get back towards. And I think Steve Diamond will try and build a side in his image, really, and that'll be something that no one wants to play against anyway. If he manages that. But I think that's a long-term project, really, isn't it? So I think we'd expect Leicester to get up there and get rolling again, because they'll feel the pressure on themselves to get moving after last week.
Yeah, then I'll give you all the next three games, actually, because I think you've got a triple header this weekend, haven't you? Northampton Saracens, is that your first game on Friday night?
Yes, I'm at Franklin's Gardens or whatever, the Cinch Stadium now these days. Look, it's a fascinating encounter. I think Northampton's season turned really on when they beat Saracens down in at the Stonex earlier on, and they really went on a run after that, didn't they? And that was a statement win for them. So there's a couple of sort of subplots really. Northampton need to get back to winning ways with games running out. They're still very much at the top end of the table. But Saracens, off the back of that win, as Nick said, have got everything they need in their armoury. They've got players coming back from injury. They rested Maritoji. They've got Tom Willis back now. Jamie George was on the bench, so they can shuffle their pack a little bit and still look very strong. And at Northampton, yes, it's a game that they want to win. It will be very impressive if they can go from shipping, 20 or 30 points, whatever it was against Bristol, points difference to beating Saracens. So I might say that Saracens might take another step forward there. It'd be a close game, but I think I could see Saracens winning that. But Northampton, very much not out of the hunt. They could lose those opening two games and win a couple and still be in the top four. Gloucester Bristol, I'm actually not involved in that game, but again, it's fascinating because both of those teams are back in form now. Gloucester off the back of the Premiership Cup win, and with Zach Mercer and one or two others playing very well, they seem to be moving in the right direction and have got that confidence back. And at Bristol underperforming this season, I think that their chances of a top 4 finish are slightly gone, given the quality that's above them. But you never know, really. It could be a really open running game, and probably call that as a home win. And then Quins Bath, Bath for all their running rugby away from home, they've had this policy of picking different teams. So it'd be fascinating to see whether they go full bore at Harlequins. I suspect they'll ring them, they'll make a few changes. Johan van Graan is very detailed and plans ahead, so he would have already earmarked this fixture for certain players. And I can see Quins really reacting and coming off the back of that and probably doing enough to win that game.
Nick, Sale Exeter brings up the rear on Sunday. Exeter still in the top 4. Rob Baxter's doing an amazing job there, isn't he? But Sale definitely need a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've got to get their season back rolling in the right way, basically. Yeah, it's a fantastic season from Exeter, given all the changeover. A lot of unusual things happened across the summer and into this season for Exeter off the field. Some of the things they've done have been a bit odd, but what they've put on the field in some of the young players is impressive. And a lot of time and respect for Alex Anderson at Sale, and he's a very good human being, great man, very wears his heart on his sleeve, and somebody that the players up there absolutely love playing for, and he's got a great record with them. So I think he obviously took them to the final last year where they lost to Saracens, and I think that a lot of neutrals have got a lot of time for Sale because partly because of Alex Anderson and how he goes about his business in that respect. So if people who don't have specific skin in the game would be hoping that probably Sale can get moving again, just to obviously make it interesting as the season comes to the climax.
So joining us now is England captain Marlie Packer, fresh from winning her 100th cap and from winning the opening game in the Women's Six Nations against Italy at the weekend. Marlie, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've only just arrived back at Pennyhill Park from flying back from Italy. Have to ask, how are you feeling?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, I feel... Well, actually, I'm quite tired at the moment, but last couple of days, just been on cloud 9. Super proud of the girls' performance and how we played. But also, everyone keeps telling me 100 caps is a massive milestone. And yes, it is for me, but I just keep wanting to get my next one and not think about it too much. So, it's been a pretty amazing weekend.
And you managed, obviously, to win the game quite comfortably in the end, but a red card in the opening 10 minutes for Sarah Packer. I mean, these things can have a bit of a readjustment, can't they? Because, yes, while you train for these sorts of things to happen, you've still got to rejig everything. The Italians were probably quite spurred by that a little bit, and it just took a time for England to settle down. Maybe for the first game, that can often happen, and I guess it was probably quite a relief that the points started to come eventually, really, with 8 tries in total.
Yeah, we knew Italy were going to come at us. They brought really good line speed, what we wasn't really expecting from them. But losing a player 10 minutes into a game changed just the way we played. We had to change our lineup setup. We had to change around the scrum because she was on number 8. So that pushed me across in attacking scrum. But I think we dealt with it quite well. I think probably the frustration came for us that was actually our soft errors, just a bit of handling out there. But what we said we wanted to go out and do, we did do that. We just didn't make that finishing pass or that someone would go into touch. So first game under the belt that we're going to grow under this tournament is the way I see it. 6-day turnaround now until Wales, which is at Ashton Gate, which is going to be, I think, an incredible atmosphere there. I think they've sold around 15,000 tickets already, and probably a lot more come this week and then on the actual day. So, as a performance out in Italy, yeah, we've got a lot of learning to do, but we move on to the next game.
John Mitchell celebrated his birthday this weekend, didn't he, as well? He's 60. Sorry, John, for bringing that up. But I'm sure that added to the celebrations. But is his style of management different to what you've been used to before? And what's really changed under him?
Yeah, he was 60 while we were out there. He did get a birthday cake. To be fair, all the girls, well, a couple of girls got faces printed off as him, like really proper ones. So we sat in a meeting one night and he came in last, and we were all just sat there and we had his face on. So it was quite funny, to be fair. But I think obviously in WXV he did very much change the way we played as England. I know he had more of a back role and let Lewis Deacon take charge. But since then, I just think what he wants off the field, we talk about our culture, and he really recognises happy players makes really good players on the pitch, and getting that balance right, and just I think posing us questions around how we play and why we're doing certain things, whereas before we might have been a bit more regimented. This is what we're doing, and probably not so much the why. Was the way I'd look with Mitch. He's definitely made me look at the game differently and why I make decisions and what the repercussions are of it, and just a lot more about rugby is a game of momentum and like how we play against teams, like how can at the end of the day set the life out of them and win the game.
Would you say, Marlie, that your training week has changed under John? Because listen, I've known him for a very long time. He's obviously got an incredible amount of experience, and with all sorts of teams in many different countries. He's probably seen different training weeks every single time. Would you say you as senior players and the team have more input into what's going on, or is it the same, or is it less? Because the training week's bound to change when you've got a new coach in charge to a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very much very different than what we've had before. He's got a leadership group. He likes to work with the leadership group really closely, and he feels like his messages get voiced down through that, but also that he's here to facilitate and make us better players and leaders. Obviously, the final say goes with him, but he's very much like that's how he wants it to be.
Who managed to persuade him to allow you to have your children come and visit then? Because as a father of children, it's easier to be away from your loved ones and just focus on test week. But as mothers of children, it's probably quite nice to have them come in at the right time.
Yeah, it is really nice to have them come in at the right time, and I think he generally believes that not just children. I think children are the main one, but a couple of girls bring the dogs in every now and then, like in our off time, and I think he just knows that if we're in a good place off the pitch, like I said, he's going to get a better performance out of us on the pitch, and I think he's like that himself. He's very family orientated. He talks about his wife all the time and his kids, and I think that's how much they mean to him. So he misses them when he's in camp. So it's going to be the same for us.
Yeah, I think Sir Clive didn't allow Lawrence to take his children because he was dealing with a bunch of children, wasn't he, really? He had to sort of sort them all out at the same time.
Yeah, listen, Lady Jane was allowed in the hotel, so there's no reason why anyone else was. It's Marlie, just on this team, it's obviously only one game. It's one, first game, first win, new coach, 100 cats for you, a few different players in the group. What's the growth of this team? What do you think that, what do you want to see? What's the potential in this team over this championship and beyond, do you think?
I think the growth is massive. Like, if we look at the team that went out there to play at the weekend, we had Emily Scarrett returning from a long-term injury, Zoe Harrison, ACL, Abby Ward coming back as giving birth to her little baby, Hallie. We've also got Sardine Kabay and Lucy Packer, who both missed WXV. So none of them have actually ever played the shape, the way that Mitch wants us to play. So I think, that was their first taste of playing the new way and how we want to play. But also the likes of Maddie coming in first cap. What an amazing way to come into the international rugby, winning against Italy in that opening game of Six Nations. But then also we can keep growing over the Six Nations. There's really good, healthy competition that's going on at the moment in camp. Mitch is very much like he wants like 2 sets of 15 fit players so we can train properly against each other, where maybe before we've not been able to do that or numbers haven't been right. But he's very keen on that.
So the other results over the weekend, France beat Ireland 38-17, and Wales, that was heartbreaking for them, wasn't it? Missed conversion right at the end. They lost to Scotland 20 points to 18. Marlie, how do you view the progress being made by the other home unions? I mean, it's fantastic now that England are on a 25 match winning streak, but we really need you to come under a little bit more pressure, both for the competition itself, but I guess also for your own level of performance to go up.
Yeah, and I think you see this now, like the France game. Like Ireland came out and gave him a tough game. It wasn't a walkover, where in previous Six Nations Ireland haven't been performing. I think there's probably credit to Scott Beeman. He was the England backs coach. He's gone over to Ireland head coach. He's probably brought quite a bit of structure in for them, the way they want to play. But also that little bit of belief. The Scotland-Wales result is, fantastic result for Scotland. Obviously, I played with a few of the girls up at Saracens, and I just think they've got a lot of belief going on at the moment, a real end goal of where they want to be. And I think the new WXV competition being out, and the locations in Vancouver, they came off the back of the last WXV as winners. They can see themselves in that top tier. They just needed to beat the Six Nations. They need to obviously come third place, and they really see that as a driving place in where they want to be at. And then with that game as well, to beat Wales in Wales, which they haven't done, I think, is pretty special for them.
Now, listen, Marlie, we're delighted that you're going to be joining us to give us weekly updates on the tournament. Thank you for that. Just give us an update then. You won your 100th cap. Congratulations. Do you have to do any... I know you got in the men's side, I know Danny Kerr recently won his 100th cap, and he got presented with a little sort of gold salver, or I think it's politely referred to as a mushroom by most of the team. But, did you get presented with anything, and did you have to do another song to mark your 100th cap, or did you only have to do that when you win your first cap?
So we got presented with the mushroom. It's a gold one. It was engraved, and we did it on the side of the pitch with all my family there, so that was really special. And then we had to go to the after-match function, and since COVID, we've not really done many after-match functions, so this one was back in, and I'm not sure how it came about, but someone walked over with a microphone and said, you have to sing the 100 cap. So I did, and I did Country Roads, and then they said another one, so then I sang Angels, and then I sang Hey Mickey. So I thought, if I'm going to start, I'm just going to keep going, then they're going to be telling me to get off the microphone.
So you're not the shy. You're clearly not the shy retiring type. Then you had three songs planned, and you sung them all.
Yeah, basically that was And I just thought, then if I get them out the way, I don't have to lot on the bus on the way back or anything else. But the Red Roses, we kind of usually on the bus on the way back from games, like man of the match usually has to sing, or if anyone scored. So, we like a good singing bus.
If anyone scored, I was going to say 8 tries. If anyone scored, you'd be on that bus for hours, weren't you?
Yeah, sometimes we are.
I saw the t-shirts that you had as well, which look they're quite special. Did it have all your 100 games on the back of the t-shirt?
Yeah, and when I'd scored in the games as well, which there was a couple missing, but I let them off.
Listen, I think they've got to keep a bit more space on that T-shirt, because you're hopefully going to be winning your 101st cap against Wales. Before we sign off, give us will you be rotating the squad? Will there be a few changes? Anyone pick up any injuries, or you just wait and see really till the week pans out?
I think we will see a few different faces, just because of the 6-day turnaround. I think, this is a long tournament, and also Mitch has made it quite apparent that he wants to see different combinations working. So I think we will see, but I think we will still see hopefully a better performance. But it's one where I think we talk about other nations and them growing the gap in how they're playing. We're not going to put these big score lines on teams straight away. We've got to work hard and be patient within the game, and then the scores will start coming, but it's going to take more time because teams are fitter. Teams have got more time to try and play with each other, which ultimately means it's going to be a tougher game, and any result can happen.
And I guess your job your job is not to allow those teams to catch up. Your job is to move England forward and
Push
just
on.
say, look, guys, I know it'd be more competitive for the tournament if everyone was a bit closer, but that's not our aim and objective. We actually want to be out in front, and we want to push our game on and develop our game as well. Listen, we wish you all the very best for that. It's on Saturday, isn't it? 4:45 kickoff. So Ashton Gate, I think there's some tickets still available. It's a great atmosphere down there on an evening game. So wish you all the best with that. And we look forward to hearing from you next week.
Thank you very much.
Well, that brings the final whistle on this week's Evening Standard Rugby podcast. My thanks to 100 cap England captain Marlie Packer. We'll be hearing from her throughout the tournament and give us weekly updates on England's performances and everything Women's Six Nations. And of course, my thanks to the Evening Standard's Steve Cording and to Nick Purewal. Please download and give us a like and a review on whichever podcast provider is your favourite. And of course, thanks to VoxPod Studios too for hosting us. So until next week, it's goodbye from us.